Hello, my friends, and welcome to this video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what happens if your DPDR goes and then it comes back. I'm going to talk about the reasons potentially that it could come back and what you can do about it to sort of get rid of it forever. And for those of you that are new to the channel, then welcome. My name's Dan, and I help people further their lives and get their life back on track using neurocoaching techniques. So let's get into the video. First of all, let's have a little quick look at some of the ways that you overcome DPDR. Changing your habits, mindfulness, acceptance, which is accepting the thoughts and questions you get without actually engaging with them. Diet, exercise, therapy, and coaching. Coaching is what I do, and in order for coaching to work, you need to be ready to be coached, and it can actually be done in tandem with therapy. A quick note here, which is very vital for you to understand, is that sometimes when I am seeing a client, they are seeing a therapist at the same time. Or sometimes I might actually turn away somebody because I can sense from the call that we're having that they're not actually ready to be coached yet and they need to have therapy first. Or sometimes I've worked with people who have had a therapist for quite a while, or they had one in the past, but for whatever reason, therapy didn't quite work for them, so they want to try something different, and then they tried coaching. So here are some things to consider if your DPDR comes back. Can you pinpoint a specific event, thought, or feeling you had which re-triggered it? If you can, this is a good sign because it means you know what you have to work on to make DPDR go away forever. What if I can't pinpoint a specific thing, but it just seemed to come back anyway? So if you're not able to recognize a specific thing or event that caused your DPDR to come back, it means you still have a trigger, but you just need to figure out what that trigger is. The reason you need to figure out what that trigger is because if you don't know what's causing your anxiety, then it's possible it could just keep coming back and coming back and coming back, no matter how much mindfulness you do. The likely reason your DPDR came back. DPDR is a symptom of anxiety and trauma. So it's highly likely that you still have some unresolved trauma or you haven't processed and understood the things that make you have anxious thoughts. Until these things are resolved, it's possible that your DPDR will keep coming back. This is why therapy or coaching is considered the best way to overcome the symptoms of DPDR. So we know that DPDR is a result of anxious thinking. And how do you actually overcome that? Coaching can help you overcome anxious thinking. And here are some ways. In coaching, we can challenge your limiting belief. Things you say to yourself like, I'm too old, I'll never recover, I'm different to everyone, no one knows what I'm going through, it's not fair, other people are lucky, I wish I could overcome this. All these things you tell yourself hinder your progress. So what's motivating you to say them? Helping you realize you have a choice with everything. Progress and change happens with an ownership, accountability, and responsibility mindset instead of adopting a blame, excuses, and denial mindset. Most people tend to blame and make excuses because it's easier. There's a whole massive array of tools that coaches use to help you overcome things, but challenging your limiting beliefs and sort of getting you adopting that more, taking ownership of your life and responsibility for your life is a very strong thing that I do in my coaching. Another really interesting thing I do is look at the rules that you set for yourself, because these rules that you set for yourself are also things that can make you feel anxious and cause anxious thinking. I'll give you a very real example of rules that you set for yourself and how they can get rid of your anxious thinking to get rid of your DPDR. And this is exactly what happened to me. So as a kid, I went through a little bit of trauma. I was bullied at school. So sort of one of the rules I set for myself is, oh, I have to be nice to people for them to like me. And that made another rule of, well, I have to keep talking to people because if I'm not talking to them, they think I'm going to be boring. So they think that they're not going to like me. When I was speaking to someone to help me with my anxious thoughts, she challenged me on that sort of rule that I'd set for myself that I always have to talk. And she said to me, Dan, if you've been talking to somebody for a long time, there might be moments where there's going to be a bit of a lull in the conversation, or perhaps you got nothing to talk about, isn't there? And I'm like, oh yeah, you got a point. So then she said, So Dan, is it realistic to put that rule on yourself that you always have to be talking and you always have to keep the conversation going? And that really struck a chord with me. I'm just like, hang on a minute. Of course, that's not realistic. Of course, I don't have to do that. It's natural to have a break and it's natural to run out of things to say or whatever it is. And as soon as she highlighted that to me, which by the way, I would have never figured out by myself, it took me talking to someone to figure that out. As soon as she said that to me, like it's just like a flood of relief washed over me. And I'm just like, oh, of course I don't have to do that. Oh, like, I mean, it was almost like, oh, stupid me for making that rule. Why the hell did I do that? What I didn't realize is that through all those experiences in childhood, all these layers had built upon each other and built to eventually lead to this rule, which wasn't serving me in adult life. So until I was able to understand that, the anxious thoughts would have kept going. So this is what I mean about how talking to someone is really going to help you, because they're going to be able to challenge you and all this type of stuff. And who knows, you might have another aha moment. You might be like, ding, oh, wow, like, yeah, I never realized that. And then sometimes when that happens, and it does happen, it's just like everything melts away, like the anxious thinking goes, the symptoms really reduce, and then you can just keep going and work on other thoughts and other things that you've been doing yourself, when it just really steamrolls into like this massive glorious thing of success, and there's like nothing stopping you now. And once people get going with that, like it's really amazing to see, and it's really amazing to witness, and it's so good for the person who's experiencing it, because they've never thought of it like that before. They've never had that brought up for them before. They've never been aware of that. So once you are aware, then you can resolve all these things, because you don't know what you don't know. So if your DPDR does come back, that could be something that's happened. Maybe you've gone a whole year without it, but you've still got those rules you've set for yourself. So you might be walking along or doing whatever, then all of a sudden, ding, oh, crap. Oh, I feel a bit weird. Something's not quite right. And then, the negative self-talk and all that type of stuff happens again. And then it all just comes crashing down. And that's really awful when that happens. When all that hard work just comes crashing down. My friends, I hope you've learned a little bit from this video. And if you do want to speak to me about some of the anxious thoughts you're having or what you're going through with DPDR, then please reach out for me and let's see if we can get you on track of getting rid of it forever, because it is absolutely possible to do. And if you have learned a little bit or like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because that's also really cool to do. And until next time, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.